What is going on, everybody? PintSizeAnalyze here, and in this week's podcast episode, I'm going to just have to do a little camera fix really quick. And in this week's podcast episode, I'm going to be talking about the Mariners' recent unfortunate 3-6 road trip. I'm going to be talking about the Brian Wu unfortunate recent hamstring injury. I'm going to be talking about why the Mariners might need to add a starting pitcher from the trade market. I have 3 potential options, although I'm going to go through more. And then I'm also have the general talking point, something I wanted to talk about, and that's that it's starting to maybe kind of feel like a laundry list of deadline acquisitions needed, but that's okay, and because the Mariners have had a variety of upgrades happen before at the deadline, and I also want to use baseball trade values because they still have kind of a free section where you can look at like free proposed trades and get an idea of how they value players, and so I'm curious how they value our minor leaguers, some Mariners minor leaguers, and how they would or what they would cost on in a potential baseball trade values trade. Although I can't actually post it because it's behind a paywall now. But yeah. We'll get into that. So the first part was the 3-6 road trip. So the Mariners went 3-6, losing the series in Cleveland. They won game 1, and then unfortunately dropped the next 2. In Miami, they lost the first one in extras and then won the second game 9-0 before dropping the series finale. Bryce Miller gave up 4 runs in the first inning, and they were down 4-0 after the first inning. They were not able to come back. And then in Tampa, on the first game of the series, they had a 3-1 lead after a Cal Raleigh home run to take a 1-0 lead, I believe. And then Mitch Garver hit a 2-run home run to give them a 3-1 lead. They unfortunately blew that game and ended up losing 4-3. They, after getting 2 outs in the bottom of the 8th, they ended up giving 3 runs and lost that game. And then on Tuesday, they lost in a blowout. And then yesterday, on Wednesday, they kind of salvaged the series. Even though, not salvage a series split, but they were able to kind of salvage the series and kind of salvage the road trip. They really needed that win. It seemed like, and it ended up being a big win, 5-2. Munoz really did not have it. He came in for the bottom of the 9th and promptly walked the first 2 batters before hitting a batter. So it was bases loaded, and then Trent Thornton came in for his first major league career save. The first batter grounded into a almost double play. It just ended up being a ground out, fielder's choice, so runner on first and third, and then a runner grounded up scoring. At that point, it was 5-2, and then he got the batter to ground into a double play, and that was game over. So congratulations to Trent Thornton on his first major league save. I'm a big Trent Thornton fan. He's been doing great stuff for the team this year. He's been a very, very solid reliever since the Mariners got him. But yeah, let's get into it. I kind of talked about the overall road trip just was not really great, and it kind of continued an unfortunate theme of the Mariners really not playing well away from T-Mobile Park, as they have a losing record away from T-Mobile Park, but they are, I believe it's 19-25 or something like that away from T-Mobile Park, and then they're like 25-12 or something like that at home. So actually, let's go to the MLB standings right now. Whoops. Okay. Just to get that exact record. And then I will also do like a little talk about the division, because unfortunately the Mariners' 10 game lead has now shrunk. So yes, it is 19-25 away from T-Mobile Park. It is 27-12 at home. 19-21 against opponents over 500. 4-6 over the last 10, which is not great, but have won last one. And 46-37, 9 games over 500 still. Second best team in the division. The Astros are still only 500, but they are just 4.5 games back now. They're no longer 10 games back. So, yeah, that's definitely hoping. And the Astros have won 7 games in a row. The Rangers have lost 4 in a row. But yeah, it's just really scary that the Astros have won 7 in a row, and like their run differential is +30. So it seems like the Astros are definitely coming. Although they also have not played as well away from Minute Maid Park. They have a winning record at home, but then a losing record on the road. In terms of like a potential second seed, so the Mariners are like 5 games. I think it's like 7.5 back from Cleveland. Mariners have 5 less wins than Cleveland, but 10 more losses, which is just crazy. Cleveland's played 10 more games or 5 less games than them. So I believe they're like 7.5 back for Cleveland for that second AL playoff seed. The Royals, who were kind of, they were like almost nearing like the division lead in the Central, have really been struggling. 3-7 of their last 10. They're now only 6 games above 500. The Orioles have been cruising as well. Well, actually, no, they got swept over by the Astros, so actually they kind of haven't been as much. And the Yankees' rotation has been kind of struggling. Cole had a really underwhelming 2024 debut. Blue Jays had like a 7-game losing streak. Rays, who the Mariners just played, have been playing better, I think. Same as the Red Sox. Red Sox have been playing well. Also on the NL side, more so matters for like buyers and sellers, but and who's going to actually be buying and selling. But the Mets have been playing a lot better, and they're now 500. They were like a potential kind of frequent mention for Mariners trade target, whether that's Pete Alonso or a reliever or whoever. Rockies obviously should sell, but I don't think they will be. Giants, even that NL West, it's just like so tight there. Like the Giants and Diamondbacks may have no reason to sell, particularly because the Diamondbacks made the World Series last year. They definitely would think that they might have like a contending core, or like a core that could go far in the playoffs. But let's go next to the document. So Brian Wu had a hamstring injury in that first game against the Rays. He only was able to go 3+ innings, so he pitched into the fourth but did not record an out. His velo was up. He looked generally really, really good. He was up. So his average velo on the fastball was up 2 miles per hour. Sinker was up 2 miles an hour. Changeup 1.7. Slider almost 3 miles an hour. And then, although granted, he threw like 8 secondaries. Or 7 secondaries, threw 3 changeups and 2 sweepers and 2 sliders. So he only threw 7 secondary pitches, but even the velo on the secondaries was up. The command looked generally good. It was 59 pitches through 3. He was kind of laboring, but it was still, exciting that just when the fastball velo is up, whether the results are great or not, that's, always exciting because just the raw stuff is better. And even if the raw velo raw velo boost isn't necessarily helping in that moment or in that start, it will only bode well for the future if his velo is better, like more in that 96 range. But I don't know if that's going to continue though. And this part of the reason why it kind of was so frustrating that they ended up losing this game was because they, if I heard that Wu only got 3 innings, but only went 3 innings, but they were still in a position to win, like that's really a game that kind of feels important to win. But next though, so Wu ended up leaving the game after the 3rd inning though because of a hamstring injury. He was placed on the 15-day injured list the next day, and Colin Snyder was called up in his place. Now the Mariners' 6th starter was Emerson Hancock. Emerson Hancock left his most recent start in Tacoma because of a strained or lower back tightness. So it remains to be seen if Hancock will be taking over Wu's spot next, but the Mariners today obviously have an off day, so they can just have their starters operate on regular rest right now, and maybe even until the All-Star break. Next up, though, so the Mariners could potentially need, though, a starting pitcher from the trade market. I think that's just kind of the reality at this point. So I wanted to look at some potential trade options from the trade market. So let's go to SpotTrack, where I have I've listed a few here, and we can check their numbers exactly on Fangraphs and Savant. But I have Jack Flaherty, Eric Fedde, and Yusei Kikuchi as 3 potential names that could make sense. Fedde has a year of control left, but let's just go through. And this is the 2025 MLB impending free agent starting pitchers. So Charlie Morton's not being, and I'm just looking at mostly these UFAs. I don't think of all the Rangers are selling. Royals obviously not. Max Fried obviously not. Sean Manaea, I definitely don't think Sean Manaea has been good enough, honestly, for that to be worthwhile. Let's see though. And again, the Mets are contending, so like I literally just said, the Mets are contending again, so that's might be an important piece of the equation. But yeah, 3.089 ERA, 4.29 xERA, 3.81 FIP. Okay, so yeah, he's been like completely serviceable. Okay, like yeah, I mean, honestly, he would be a fine innings eater. But I just don't know if the Mets are going to be selling. But yeah, no, like exactly league average by ERA and like slightly below league average by FIP. So yeah, I mean, I think Manaea would be fine, and like a $13 million price point, it's not that crazy, particularly if the Mets would give because it would only be like $4 million at that, or $5 million at that point, and especially if the Mets helped out. But so Yusei Kikuchi is one of them that I was going to mention. Kikuchi is only owed $12 million this year, and then he's a free agent this offseason. He has had kind of a good year. Not Kyle Gibson. I just was thinking about Kyle Gibson because I read that. It would obviously also be funny if he, if it was a reunion with the Mariners, but I also kind of like that he is a left-handed pitcher. I feel like that might be, helpful. So yeah, 4 ERA, 3.89 xERA, 3.5 FIP. Okay, so really, really actually like second best FIP of his career behind only 2020. So yeah, that's really, really interesting. 3.36 xFIP. So yeah, he might actually like be having a better season, and like that ERA might go down a little bit. Let's see about 5.6 career low in walk percentage. That's great. 24% strikeout rate. So yeah, like kind of still in line with career norms. Slightly above it. But yeah, I think Kikuchi would be a great option, and yeah, he would only be owed like $5 million or so, and the Jays look to be legitimately like they're going to be selling everything, or not everything, but a lot. Chris Bassett would be another idea. Let me get to Eric Fedde though, because Fedde is kind of a notable one. He's having a really good year, so much so that like I don't think the numbers are going to continue. But I misspelled his name. It's ERICK. Whoops. Okay. But yeah, so he's got a 3.23 ERA right now. I do not expect that to continue, but I think him being at like a 3.6 ERA is like perfectly fine, or 3.7. He's at a 3.6 FIP right now. So yeah, like he's definitely like kind of overperforming his peripherals right now, but yeah, he's really had a good season. Only striking out 22% of batters he's facing, walks 6.1%, but yeah, I just think he'd be like a solid innings eater, like a 4 or 5. He's not like I'm just going to be honest, I do not believe he's like the 3.23 ERA pitcher that he is. But yeah, I think I think he'd be more than adequate as like a back end innings eater. I do not know if he would actually I don't know how likely they would be to actually want to put him like on a playoff roster though. If we go to like sinker though, Stuff Plus, this is Sarah Stuff Plus. So 59 fastball, but he does not really throw it. Mainly throws a sinker, and then cutter, slider, change. 93 Stuff Plus, but 106 location plus, 101 pitching plus. So yeah, he's kind of just like it's kind of old school like pitchability, but I mean, I like it as a 4 or 5, and he, but I think that the Mariners may not be wanting to pay all of what it would take. Let's see his Savant page though. So yeah, I mean, 66 percentile in xERA. I mean, his Savant page maybe even points to him being like maybe even continuing this level of performance, or roughly so. Yeah, generally good. Not going to strike out a lot of people. Not the most crazy raw stuff, but just good command. Gets ground balls, like pitchability, not crazy velo. I mean, yeah, 93.2. Let's see though, because so yeah, that's interesting too, that his velo's gone up since he pitched in Korea last year, so kind of similar to Chris Flexen. Chris Flexen is another one. I don't think we would actually go get Chris Flexen, but that's like another one. Flaherty was the other one I put on there, the final one. Let's look at Flaherty's numbers. Flaherty's having like the best year of the 3, I believe. And the Tigers may not even necessarily be selling yet. We don't know that. Really, the White Sox are like the only certain seller of the White Sox, Blue Jays, and Tigers. Flaherty pitched today. Okay. So after today, 2.95 ERA, 2.79 FIP, 2.21 xFIP. Wow. 15 starts, 85 innings pitched now. Oh, wow. He only went 2 1/3 today, or 2 innings pitched today. What happened? 7 batters faced. Was he injured? He might be injured, which is really not great. Or no, is he actively pitching right now? He's probably actively pitching right now. Okay, he's let me see. That would be really dumb if he is. And I'm just like, is he injured? He's probably pitching right now. Let's see. Yeah, okay, he's going up against the Angels. Okay, and he's giving up 1 run. Okay, so there we go. There's our answer. I was like, is he injured? But yeah, up to a 2.95 ERA. Whoa. But yeah, who's at a 2.92 before today? 2.72 xERA, 2.7 FIP, 2.23 xFIP. So yeah, peripherals are like ridiculous. 33% strikeout percentage, 4% walk percentage. I mean, like he's more dominant right now than he was in like 2019 and 2018. Let's see. Yeah, that 2.7 FIP is crazy. And then Flaherty's also, and Flaherty is on a 1-year deal. He is also like a true rental. Oh man, this Savant page is ridiculous. Okay. 92nd percentile in xERA, 79th in expected batting average, 41st in fastball velo, so not even throwing us that hard. He kind of, is his velo up at all? Because I know his velo was kind of up a little bit when he was with after he got traded last year from the Cardinals to the Orioles. I remember his velo kind of being up. So yeah, it's up by 0.4 compared to last year. Last year was at 93.1, this year 93.5, so it's up a bit, but yeah, fastball velo. Let's see what it was in like 2019 though. It was only 93.8? Really? I thought he used to be like upper 90s. Okay, well. Maybe he just like occasionally reaches that. But yeah, actually, I mean, velo kind of relatively in line with career norms. Chase percentage, 76th percentile. Whiff percentage, like elite. K percentage, elite. Walk percentage, elite. Barrel percentage, great. Hard hit percentage, good. Ground ball percentage good, and then he gets good extension. His arsenal throws four-seamer 44% of the time, slider 30% of the time, knuckle curve 18%, changeup 4%, and then sinker 1%. So it's really four-seam, slider, knuckle curve. I'm really, let's see. I don't really know exactly what he throws to what. So it looks like he throws majority like slider to. Well, actually. Wow, that's interesting. So I was thinking maybe like the knuckle curve was to lefties and the slider was to righties or something like that. Well, so slider, number to right-handed batters, 179, number to left-handed batters, 203. But then the number of knuckle curves to right-handed batters and left-handed batters, 115. So obviously he's probably seeing more righties than lefties, but it's interesting that he throws it like exactly the same, and it's not like those breaking balls, like one is for one-handedness and the other is for the other, like you see kind of commonly with some pitchers. Let's next go to, though, so Flaherty. The next thing I want to go to is, so this is just kind of, these are just kind of my thoughts. This is kind of just, I'm gonna be honest. It is starting to feel like there are like some, maybe a good amount of positions that need upgrades, but I also think that it is important to kind of take. Like if you go back to 2022 during that deadline, obviously Luis Castillo was the main piece that the Mariners acquired, but they also acquired. And granted, these weren't like big names, but they also acquired Kurt Casale, and they needed a backup catcher at that point. They acquired Matthew Boyd. They needed a left-hander at that, left-handed reliever, and they acquired. It would have been not Jake Bowers. Why am I blanking on his name? I can't believe I'm It's the guy who hit the home run in like Ichiro Hall of Fame. Jake Lamb. Okay. Jake Lamb. And they acquired Jake Lamb. I can't believe I forgot that. But yeah, so they acquired like those three, and obviously those were like minor pieces, but they were like pieces where the team kind of needed help. So I would expect those kind of moves again this year. And we could even look up like Jake. I believe Jake or Kurt Casale and Matthew Boyd were traded together. But yeah, I'm curious what the Mariners traded exactly. Michael Streifler and Andy Thomas. So yeah, and those were like, I believe, so yeah, and those were like the Mariners like a previous fifth rounder, and then like a previous unsigned UDFA. So it did not like take a lot away from the farm to make those kind of smaller moves. And then let's see about Jake Lamb. For cash consideration. So yeah, and then they got Jake Lamb, and obviously Jake Lamb ended up being DFA'd. But yeah, so and it was like a pretty minor move. But yeah, I'm just like saying it. Although it does seem like a laundry list, there are going to be, those moves where they are able to like trade like, the 28th best prospect, and obviously, that'll kind of hurt, but organizationally, but it's like, a lottery ticket prospect or whatever. They might have to trade like that, 28th ranked prospect for what seems like maybe not a huge deal, but like another backup catcher, which I think they could use with Mitch Garver now being the primary backup catcher and Sebi Zavala being DFA'd. He also was cleared waivers and outright in Tacoma, if you did not see that. But they might be in the market for a backup catcher, or who knows. So really, I just think that there are definitely some possibilities, and it may not cost as much as some people believe to get those upgrades. And obviously, not all of those upgrades I don't think will be filled. But I also am curious if maybe they do, take that approach, because I think that year in 2022 is arguable that like they kind of filled what they thought was their biggest hole, which was not having an ace and getting Luis Castillo and the best pitcher available on the market. So I'm curious to see if they believe that there's like one corner outfield sized major hole that they need to fill with Luis Robert or whoever. I'm just throwing it out there. Or whether they're like, okay, we have a medium-sized hole at corner outfield and, at middle infield or wherever. So that just kind of remains to be seen. But obviously, every player that they do add and do get better in every aspect that they do get better, it's, probably a good thing. I doubt that they're going to, just move a whole bunch of prospects this year, but we also do know that it is Dipoto and Hollander's last year of their contract, so that will be an important factor at this deadline. The next thing I wanted to talk about was, well, actually, let's go to Kikuchi's Savant page. I don't believe I did that. Yikes. Okay, so giving up a lot of hard contact, not walking a lot of people. I said that though. Battle League average. I mean, honestly, it's just looking like a 4 or 5 starter. I mean, I can't. It's honestly, I feel like calling it like a yikes is kind of an overreaction. It's looking like a 4 or 5 starter, which I feel like the Mariners would be getting him for. The last thing I wanted to do though. Analyzing. Oh, let's go to baseball trade values, and then baseball trade values, the website. If you do not know, it's like a model where they analyze players' values by millions, and then they take the on-field value, which they calculate in millions, and then subtract it by the player's salary in millions, and it includes like their projected arbitration salary for like players who are still under years of club control. So because of that, it's unfortunately behind a paywall now, though, but they have it where you can see like players. So if I go to the trade boards and then right here, so we'll go to some Mariners, and I just kind of wanted to get an idea for some Mariners prospects in the system. So Logan Evans or Cole Young is at 26.8 million. That's going to be like one of the highest values in the system. And then if you'll see, and how this kind of works is like Luis Robert is worth 36 million. It says in the model. So this fan proposal included Jonathan Clase, Michael Morales, Cole Young, and Logan Evans for a total of 47 million. Compared to 36 million. Now, it being 47 million, that's like a definite overpay by this model. That would be defined as like an overpay. I think the model would say that they could take out like Clase and Morales, or take out Logan Evans and like Cole Young, Michael Morales, Jonathan Clase. The model's saying it's fair. Obviously, whether the White Sox would take that deal or not is are entirely subjective. But yeah, this just puts kind of a monetary value on it. This trade, Taylor Dollard, Cole Young, Aiden Smith for Orlando Arcia, AJ Smith, Salver. I have no idea why the Mariners would do that trade. Harry Ford, 23 million, so slightly below Cole Young in valuation, but still up there. Going to be one of the highest valued prospects in the system. Lazaro Montes at 16 million. Tyler Locklear at 13 million. Ty Pete, 9 million. Ryan Bliss, 4 million. Emerson Hancock at only at 2.5. And then Logan Evans was at 10. I'm mainly curious. So Johnny Farmello is at 21 million. Now, Johnny Farmello is, if you did not hear, unfortunately out for the year with an ACL tear. Really, really unfortunate news. But he has quickly turned into one of the highest valued prospects in the system. Now, I'm really curious about what Colt Emerson's value is. I guess I could just look up Colt Emerson, but here we go, 37 million. Okay, so Colt Emerson is worth like 9 million more than any other player, any other prospect in the system, I believe, because it was Cole Young who's worth 28 million. So yeah, Colt Emerson is definitely going to be the most valuable prospect in the system, and according to baseball trade values, and I would guess by most people, Felnin Celestin, I don't know if I saw him, but I believe he's also like in the $8 million range. But yeah, Colt Emerson at 37 million could like hypothetically bring back like a player of Kyle Tucker. I don't think he's going to be on the market, but like a Kyle Tucker or Luis Robert's trade value. So yeah, that's just kind of a barometer. Now, obviously, whether the White Sox would do like a 1-for-1 of Colt Emerson for Luis Robert, probably not. They'd probably want a bigger package, but that is how this model values Colt Emerson. And I would honestly kind of agree that I feel like from my perspective, with Colt Emerson being the 15th ranked overall prospect by Baseball America, if he stays at shortstop, that's just going to continue growing. And I think that it would make sense that he would be one of the most, like, I think that it would make sense that he might be as valuable as Luis Robert. Logan Evans at 10.4 million. That's kind of an important note. He's definitely increased his value. It was probably at 0 before this year. Now it's at 10.4 million. Definitely the most valuable non-starter or pitcher in the minors for the Mariners. I'm pretty sure it'd be Michael Morales who'd be second. Ty Pete at 9 million. Aiden Smith at 2.1 million is interesting. I really like Aiden Smith, and I think he honestly should be a little higher than that. I feel like he should probably be in like the $5 million range, but again, he was only a 4th-rounder pick, so it kind of makes sense. Felnin Celestin right there, 6.5 million. And these are all just fan proposal trades that I'm looking through. Cade Marlowe for Tommy Pham. Canzone also actually is kind of worth a decent amount, according to their model. Like, he's valued relatively highly, which, I mean, makes sense. He's, at worst, like a strong side platoon bat, but he is just such an interesting player, and he does just, look so good and then kind of just have such rough ABs at other times. Michael Arroyo, also valued at $8 million. Michael Arroyo's been a really popular trade chip. If I was going to pick like 3 players though that I did think were going to be maybe likelier trade chips, it would be like Michael Arroyo, Jonathan Clase, Ben Williamson, who was the second rounder last year. He's been at AA Arkansas, started at High Everett, been at AA Arkansas now. At $2 million in value for Ben Williamson. Yeah, Aiden Smith at $2.2 million. That seems a little low. Especially when like Alberto Rodriguez is at 2.5. As I see it, like Aiden Smith just has so much more upside. Like there's like legit 3 or 4 win upside potential with Aiden Smith maybe, whereas that I just don't see that with Alberto Rodriguez. So yeah, I mean, this trade, Lazaro Montes, Ty Pete, Ben Williamson, and Logan Evans for Luis Robert. I think I definitely think the White Sox might consider that. I don't. I mean, I'm almost certain that they would. But I think that Logan Evans might not be traded this year because they might want to keep him. This one, Isaac Paredes, Pete Fairbanks from Matt Brash, Harry Ford, and Johnny Farmelo. I doubt the Mariners would move Matt Brash. Ford and Farmelo. Well, Paredes, for starters, Paredes is really interesting. There's an account on Twitter that claims to be like an MLB executive's burner, and he was saying that the Mariners weren't going to go big game hunting, but they were going to look for somebody like Isaac Paredes, who was a 4-win player last year and had 30-plus home runs. Sounds like big game hunting to me, and is like on pace for 4 wins again. But yeah, it was like projecting maybe just a Felny and Celestin for Isaac Paredes swap, which, if that's true, sign me up. That's like, Celestin has really, really high upside, and is a really, really exciting player, but that's like an 18-year-old in the complex league for a 4-win player right now, and like 30 home run yearly performer. That's a no-brainer. But yeah, that's about it for trade deadline. Wow, Mariners really improved here. Let's see. Okay, this one's crazy. Mariners get Eric Fetty, Isaac Paredes, Luis Robert, and Pete Fairbanks. Okay, gave up Dominic. Oh, they'd have to give up. Oh, I'm not even gonna be able to find it. Oh no, they'd have to give up Robert, Canzone, and Arroyo to the White Sox. Oh wait, no, that's the wrong trade. Here we go. Okay, Mariners would have to give up Canzone to the White Sox, Arroyo, Farmelo, and Evans, okay? And they'd have to give up Matt Brash, Harry Ford, Michael Morales, and Lazaro Montes to the Rays. Yeah, I'm really sure that trade happens. Yeah. But yeah, okay, that will be a... Actually, was there anything else? No. Okay, yeah. So that will be it for this week's episode. Thank you all so much for watching. I appreciate it. I hope you all have an excellent rest of your week. I'm hoping that the Mariners perform well against the Twins. They lost the series 3-1 when they played in Minnesota earlier this year. But yeah, here's to hoping that they perform much better against the Twins and win the series. And I mean, obviously they play better at home, so that definitely seems more likely. But yeah, thank you all so much for watching. I appreciate it, and have a good weekend. Peace. Or have a good week. Have a good rest of your weekend. Peace.